From abandoned schools filled with dismembered animals to an island dedicated to dolls and a lighthouse haunted by a grieving ghost, here are the top 10 most terrifying abandoned places in the world. Keep watching if you dare.
Amazing!
Number 10. Bilet Hillstatten Military Hospital. This former infirmary was built in the 1800s to deal with the explosion of tuberculosis that engulfed the area. However, during the World Wars, it became a military hospital with a Red Cross, taking care of up to 1,525 patients. The hospital and its grounds were under the control of the Soviet Union until the country ceased to exist in the early 90s, and from then on it has stood empty. Some parts of this building were once painstakingly restored, but the majority of the site, home to more than 60 buildings, has been left to decay, adding to the creepiness factor and making it more likely to be demolished in the future. This place has most definitely seen its share of death, despair, and craziness. Urban explorers have been said to still smell the disinfectant that lingers in the halls and operating rooms. It has also been used as a location in films such as The Pianist and also a music video for Rammstein, of course. Number 9. Anderlecht Veterinary School. This is another medical institute, but this time for animals, that is downright disturbing. Although made up of beautiful architecture, the inside looks like something straight out of a horror film, making even the bravest weak at the knees. Anderlecht was abandoned in 1991 when the school moved location to Liège. Standing desolate since then, amidst the crumbling halls you'll find rooms appropriately named horror labs, which contain old hand-blown bottles with questionable fluids, rusty syringes, medical tools which litter the floors, and jars that are lined up on shelves containing animal heads. Some jars even have different animal parts sewn together. I'm thinking perhaps the building crew are too terrified to even go near the place. Number 8. Jazzland, New Orleans. This place was once a place of laughs and thrills, but is now a place of downright despair. The amusement park opened in 2000 and was later purchased by a company called Six Flags in 2002. They upgraded the whole park into a Mardi Gras theme and had a range of rides and roller coasters. Sadly though, Hurricane Katrina struck in 2005. Long story short, the wreckage that was left behind from the storm was so immense, making this once merry place deserted. It is now owned by the city, who apparently have plans to put a mall in its place. If you're willing to risk getting an arrest for trespassing, it can serve as one hell of an eerie exploration outing, with many a photographer going there to snap pictures. Another amusement park that has been left to the elements is that of Holy Land, USA. The once 18-acre attraction was created based on chapters from the Bible. The park consisted of chapels, crosses, and catacombs. It hit its peak popularity in the 60s and 70s, with 40,000 people visiting per year. However, it was closed for renovations in 1984, when sadly the owner died and nobody has known what to do with it since. The property has been looked after by a group of nuns throughout the decades, but that hasn't stopped the place from deteriorating. As if the crumbling statues, dark structures, and obvious vandalism wasn't enough to get your "let's get the hell out of here" meter to blink in red, a murder took place on the deserted grounds in 2010. Number 7. Discovery Hut, Antarctic. Built in 1902 by the Antarctic Exploration Team, this hut has been left untouched for over 100 years, literally frozen in time. In most cases, this building would have completely deteriorated, but due to the freezing conditions, the building, with everything inside, has been left in immaculate condition. The inner walls are lined with felt insulation, but this proved to be extremely ineffective. It was known that expedition members preferred to sleep in tents outside, as it was easier to keep warm than inside the hut. Although the dry, frozen climate has had a freezer effect on the hut, bacterial and fungal decay reportedly still occur, creating a terrible rancid smell. Food still remains in the pans on the cook stove and seal carcasses. Blubber and skeletons hang on walls. It's a place surely to send chills up your spine. Number 6. Hashima Island, Japan. Commonly called Gunkanjima, Hashima Island in Nagasaki is a place well known to James Bond fans. The island's modern ruins served as the inspiration for the villain's lair in the 2012 film Skyfall. However, on any normal given day, it looks like something straight out of a dystopian apocalyptic world. Once upon a time, the island was populated as a coal mining facility and housed thousands of workers. When mining in the area declined in the mid-1970s, operations at the facility stopped and the island gradually became abandoned. The buildings were made out of concrete so that they could withstand the elements, especially against typhoon damage. However, since they have not been maintained, many have collapsed throughout the years, leaving the site riddled with rubble and decay. Deserted and desolate, it has been left for Mother Nature to take its course. Number 5. Isla de las Muñecas, Mexico City. This place is also known as the Island of the Dolls. The story goes that a former caretaker of the area found a girl that had drowned and later found a doll floating nearby. Assuming it was the girl's, he hung it up on a tree as a sign of respect. As time went on, the caretaker was said to have been haunted by the spirit of the girl and continued to hang more dolls to appease her. According to those close to him, it was as if he was driven by some unseen force that completely changed him. After 50 years of collecting dolls and hanging them on the island, the caretaker was supposedly found dead, drowned in the same spot as the drowned girl. The small island is home to hundreds of blank-eyed figures, some with severed limbs and decapitated heads. Local legend says that the dolls move on their own accord and even open their eyes, and some have claimed to have heard the dolls whispering to each other. I think I'll pass. Another location known for its doll-like creepiness is that of the famous doll factory in Spain, which seems to be something out of a nightmare. The place is said to be haunted, with disembodied heads covering production lines abandoned since the 1980s. Strangely menacing mannequin torsos stand on floors, amid dust-covered rusty machinery. Grime covers furniture, and also dead chickens have been found to litter the premises, with it being suggested that they were ritual killings, with some even hung up on crosses. Number 4. Pripyat, Ukraine. A ghost town in northern Ukraine, Pripyat is the location of the worst nuclear explosion in history, called the Chernobyl disaster. It's a place of devastation, distraction, and immense sadness. One of the tales of the incident documents that residents of Pripyat stood on a bridge and watched the fire approaching from the reactor, with all the people that were standing there getting a deadly dose of radiation, leaving no survivors. Therefore, the bridge has been named the Bridge of Death. This city could be home to tens of thousands of people, but due to radiation and safety, people have not relocated there, and the place has become a ghost town, left to the elements and the occasional tourist passing through. Homes, schools, kindergartens, and fairgrounds sit untouched to slowly decay. Number 3. The Monsell Sea Forts, England. During the Second World War, the British Royal Navy constructed a series of sea forts for an advanced line of defense against inbound air raids and potential sea invasions from the Axis powers. Given the name the Monsell Sea Forts, they still stand in the ocean to this day, silent and abandoned a few meters above the North Sea. One, however, remains inhabited and has now been given a title of its own referred to as the Principality of Sealand. But seriously, why anyone would want to live near these creepy abandoned structures is beyond me. Number 2. Boone Island Lighthouse, France. Lighthouses are eerie places due to their isolation, and most of them, like the ones in this video, are currently abandoned and automated. One that seems to be on the top of the list for most spooky and tragic is that of Boone Island Lighthouse with the tale of Kathleen Bright. The story goes that Kathleen became wife of the lighthouse keeper. To live with her husband, she moved to the lighthouse after their wedding, where she thought they'd continue their happy marriage. However, that was not to be true. One version of the story is that her husband became ill after only a few months. Kathleen looked after him while a storm raged outside. He passed away, and in her state of shock, Kathleen climbed all 168 steps in the lighthouse non-stop for 5 days to tend to the light. She didn't eat and hardly slept, and on the 6th day the light went dead. Locals hurried to the island to investigate and found Kathleen wandering aimlessly, starved, exhausted, and out of her mind with grief. Local fishermen have said to have seen Kathleen's ghost and also hearing a terrible wailing coming from the lighthouse at night. A guard has said that his dog chased a white apparition around the island, and 2 lighthouse keepers were terrified when the light turned itself on while they were both outside. Another extremely terrifying lighthouse is Armen, found at the west end of Brittany. It's infamous for its danger and aptly named Hell of Hells. Just imagine how terrifying it would be to spend a night here during a storm. Before I reveal the most amazing example, I'd like to remind you to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. We upload amazing fact-filled list videos daily. Also, make sure to click that bell icon to stay updated, or you'll regret missing out on some amazing knowledge that could have filled your brain. Now let's get back to it. Number 1. The Domes, Arizona. While these may look like 50s-era flying saucer replicas, they were in fact built in 1982 by an electronics company. Their weird design was supposed to assist with insulation and be cheap to construct. However, the project was abandoned a year later, after the company failed and contaminated groundwater was discovered on the site. The structures are famous for their extreme neglect and oddness, with many people describing the vibe of the place as uneasy and downright spooky. New owners acquired the buildings in 2006, but nothing has been done to refurbish them. And it must be said, who on earth would pay money for them? Rumors have also been said that the structure and placement of the buildings may have been done for satanic worship, or so they say. Just as spooky are these domed buildings located in the 10,000 Islands of Collier County, Florida. They were constructed as a vacation home by a retired oil producer, but left abandoned after a storm. Since then, they've been battered by the elements. They may be on a dream island, but I definitely won't stay there alone. All I know is that I'm staying far, far away. Which one did you find the most spookiest? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.